You're about to see a short clip featuring the girls from Lordswood Girls' School. They are in their last lesson, having completed their additional science GCSE course. They've been attending the Physics Factory since September 2009, being taught by Philip Jones. There have been great improvements in the girls' confidence, which has been mirrored in their results, so much so that half the group are now considering to study A-level physics, where originally none of them would have done that. You're about to hear from 4 of the girls and their experiences at the Physics Factory.
Today we're at the Physics Factory and we have students from
Lordswood Girls' School.
And why are you here at the Physics Factory today?
Because we've been doing our internal assessment for our core GCSE.
For GCSE course. So what about your first impressions? I think Mr. Jones would have undertaken a survey, was that right with you, about whether you were interested in physics or not?
Yeah.
And what was that like at that time?
I don't think many people at all wanted to consider doing it for A-level, but it's definitely improved since then.
Because we started out with the first topic of electricity, which wasn't really interesting at first. But I think eventually everybody got into it.
Okay. Could I ask them why you didn't choose to do physics at your school to be in the triple science group?
It was just took up one of my option blocks and I wanted to do something else, but I'd never really considered following science as a career or anything like that. So.
Okay. So what about your other subjects? Are you finding your other subjects just as interesting as you thought they would be?
Physics is just sort of its own, you can't really compare it to other subjects because it's completely different, everything about it.
Could you give me, for instance, what makes it so different and unique from something else then?
Well, with history, you're looking at stuff that's happened in the past, but then with physics, you're looking at stuff that's happened in the past, stuff that will happen in the future, how everything's happened and why it's happened, and it's just. I just find it really interesting.
Okay. How's it perhaps changed your way about thinking about things in general? Has it, in fact?
I found all the stuff that we did on the universe and how big the universe is was really, really interesting. And
Astronomy was probably the most interesting topic we've done.
Was that the thing that tipped the balance for you?
Yeah. It was I remember in lessons everyone was just wowed at everything we learned, and everyone was just taken aback by it.
So if you were to give some advice to a school or a physics teacher putting their programme together, what type of menu do you think you'd advise them to be able to give?
I would say the things that we don't really see very often. Well, obviously we do see the universe and stuff, but electricity is in our everyday life, and so it's not as because we created it, it's not as I can't think of the word,
Might it be awe-inspiring?
Yeah. Whereas the stuff that you sort of don't really realise that's there, so all the other galaxies and whatnot, you don't really realise it there, and then when you learn about them, it's
you appreciate it.
You
appreciate it more.
So what has the Physics Factory done to enthuse and educate you more about astronomy and space and galaxies then?
They've brought in people from outside who are obviously in physics career. We had somebody from the National Space Centre in Leicester who came in and did experiments with us and talked to us about what he did. And we had another person who works at Aston University. She's a top physicist, and she was talking about her career and what she's done.
And the fact that you've been able to listen to and talk to experts, has that changed your understanding or appreciation of physics?
Yeah, because the woman that came in, she was saying how everyone seems to think that physics, if you take it for A-level, then it'll lead you to more of a sort of scientific degree, when actually you can do civil engineering and things like that with it.
So a whole bunch of different things. Yeah.
I don't think people were very open-minded about physics and what the benefits are at first. But then as more people came in to talk to us, then that's when they realised, there's more to it than just the science-based careers.
Why do you think you'd have done so well in your exams? Because the results are absolutely fantastic.
Preparation.
Yeah, I seem to remember so much more, all the experiments, I sort of get it into my head and it really, really helps.
I think being in a different environment as well, when we're doing experiments, it helps us remember it more as well.
It's a special place with special things happening.
We mainly do experiments, we don't just sit there writing, we're always up about. And it motivates us more and prepares us more.
Right. So what about if this was your home school? You've got many things are the same, but would it still be the experience that you think has really switched you on for physics if that was your lab in your own school?
For me, because I sort of was interested in taking physics before we came to the physics factory. When we came here, it was like a whole new level, like, and the equipment and the facilities were just so great. And I don't think that people who already come to this school appreciate what they do have, and then that made me want to do it even more.
Okay. How many of you are actually going to apply to do physics at A level?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Considering.
Considering.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to do it.
I'm still considering
I think after doing it here as well, it's really prompted me, and like, because we've only touched upon certain subjects like such as space and the universe and things like that, like it makes you want to know about them more, and it's like just learning so little about it makes me want to know more, so it's really encouraging.
For me, it's the same sort of reasons, but it's so thought-provoking, like everything is so thought-provoking. I just have to know what is happening and why it's happening.
Do parents know about the physics factory? Have you shared that with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you give me, for instance, then a conversation you might have had with mum or dad about physics and the physics factory? Or just physics?
Well, when we had the results back from the modules, and because I've done quite well in the grades, Mum was sort of like, she never really thought that I was sort of a physicist or anything,
So,
and she was really, really surprised and really sort of pleased that we've got what we have here, and thought it was a great idea.
I think it's just like after lessons as well, like we'll go home and then somehow we'll end up in a conversation about something that I've done today at the physics factory, and it's kind of like that's the conversation at the dinner table. It's really interesting how, because like my brother did physics as well at A level, so we kind of have that input in my family anyway, so then this kind of encouraged me more to like want to talk about it and know more about it.
yeah,
That's great.
even when we go back to school and we talk to the other pupils about the physics factory, they kind of have they get a bit jealous, like they want to come here and learn it as well.
What about this notion that physics is for boys and not for girls? What are you going to tell me about how wrong I am there, perhaps?
Well, you've got practically four aspiring physicists in front of you who are all girls, so...
And we've met one of the top physicists in the country who was a woman.
Yeah, and it's kind of known that women
Yeah.
sometimes think about things too deeply, or
Yeah.
physics is really good for thinking about things like, or theories about the universe and things like that.
Your exam results are fantastic, aren't they?
Thank you.